director in the program, JAVED Rana. Your view on Maulana Fazlur Rahman's reasons to come to Islamabad, and then I want to ask you whether he is going to start his long march at all.
I find it very hard when we look at the reasons. What are the reasons? Some semblance of the reason could have been price hike, inflation, but that is not what he's banking on. He's trying to, unfortunately, misuse the card of religion.
Okay.
And if you talk to the people in the madrasas, and they would say it's an issue of finality of the Prophet.
That when TLP came, there was the previous government, right? But it seemed totally helpless back then. And that's why any cleric, especially someone who thinks that his sect is in majority, might think that they can come here, sit here, and just take over.
Situation is very different. It's different in the sense that Maulana Sahab since belonged to Deoband school of thought. And I can tell you that there is a division, deep division within the Deoband school of thought.
Right.
There is a resentment within the Deoband school of thought against Maulana Sahab and his style of politics. Because he is the one who is being perceived that at the end of the day, whatever happens, he is not going to be the beneficiary. Okay. Beneficiaries are going to be the other two political parties.
Can you identify other parties from Deobandi group that might have that kind of sway, that kind of influence?
The other group of Maulana Samil Haq, the late Samil Haq, I think they're all followers. They are supporting the government.
Okay.
And then I think obviously Maulana Fazlur Rahman Sahab's group is a bigger one. But people from within that group, they are not happy with his style of the politics.
Okay.
Because when
the Balochistan group.
It is hard to specifically point out, but the people I've spoken with, there is a clear indication.
I thought you were going to talk about Jamaat-e-Islami maybe?
Jamaat-e-Islami is conducting the kind of the politics that Maulana Sahab is conducting.
Jamaat-e-Islami seems to be conducting a new kind of politics, which is called disappearing politics. Vanishing act.
They are vanishing politically, but at the same time, we have to at least credit them that they have not misused the religion the way Maulana Sahab is using. At least in the near future, I'm not going in the past.
3 years ago matters?
We will
2 years ago matters?
We would land into a different debate. Okay. But relatively, I think their posturing has been better than Maulana Sahab. Particularly also during Jalam Pervez Musharraf's period. Again, the word that you may not like. But again...
No, I don't dislike. The problem is I'm talking about two countries, for example, Pakistan and China. All of a sudden you lead me to Mauritania. I'm going to complain why the hell are we talking about Mauritania?
There was a genuine reference. Now,
every reference is genuine.
The bigger picture is that will Maulana Sahab be able to bring out people on the roads? I think these students in the madrasa, they are living in isolation.
Okay.
They don't study anything other than religion. And the only communication largely which is taking place is what Maulana Sahab is telling them. That there is the religion, Islam is in a danger.
He is their television, their radio program, their newspaper.
Exactly. And that is a problematic area. That means that the part of the madrasas will support him. They will come out on the roads.
Okay.
Now, bigger challenge for the government is how to educate those madrasa students, how to convey them the information that there is no such issue which Maulana Sahab is propagating. That is, I think, bigger challenge for the government. The reason People's Party is not ready to physically participate in this so-called march is the fact that the People's Party, the Asif Zardari, is indirectly engaged in a plea bargaining.
Okay.
Many of co-accused in the scandals that he's been facing, they have started paying back to the National Accountability Bureau.
Okay.
So that means there is a hope from Zardari's perspective.
Has Asif Ali Zardari been indicted?
I'm saying indirectly.
No, when you are not indicted, how do you actually work a plea bargain?
I'm using the word of indirectly. The other co-accused have started paying to the National Accountability Bureau. Yeah. Now, politically, he cannot go for a plea bargain for very obvious reasons. So I think that is a part of the reason. And the second reason is that the People's Party, you know better than I do, from Punjab, they don't have a public support. In interior Sindh, they do have a sport, but not to a point where they can bring out people to participate in any such long march. And the third factor
in Sindh, they can take out,
they can take out, but again,
a long march, and they can bring it to Islamabad also.
But I think my understanding is that the government would not allow this march to take place to begin with.
Okay.
Going by the track record.
Why?
All these, I think, even in case of
this government allowed everybody, whosoever wanted to come, they didn't stop them, did they?
I think they did not allow to create situation where they could have held any such protest.
Okay.
The reason being is that many of the mainstream opposition leaders were arrested on corruption charges, so they could have, at least mobilized public opinion, which obviously could not take place. And now I think giving you a bigger picture, what is the likely scenario? My understanding is that at a time when we have very hostile kind of relation with India, when it's almost now 2 months, the Kashmir is under curfew. And there is a possibility, as Prime Minister has pointed time and again, that there could be an attack on Indian security forces by the Kashmiris, as happened in Pulwama district.
This is a good argument, but I have to bring you back to the political parties. Especially, you have spoken about People's Party and their strategy. Now, let us talk about PMLN.
In case of PMLN, we know that it's a divided house.
Okay.
So
is People's Party, though.
But in case of People's Party, Zardari is the only person who is facing these charges from the family.
Which Zardari?
Asif Ali Zardari.
Okay. So I thought Bilawal Bhutto Zardari.
But the cases are not active against him. So in case of
it is Bilawal's call, not Asif Ali Zardari.
I think the son listens to his father.
Okay.
Obediently.
Okay.
By and large. In case of PMLN, I think the situation is changed. As I pointed out earlier, it's a divided house. Shahbaz Sharif doesn't want any confrontation with the government. Right. And Nawaz Sharif does want some sort of, he wants to participate in the long march. But again, the supporters of the PMLN, they are not in a position to come out on the roads. They don't have the history of coming out on the roads in a large number.
Right.
And they would certainly vote for PMLN, but I don't think they could lend any physical support to this kind of march.
There. JAVED RANA, again, USP.
I think the point that you are making is very relevant. That is at the heart of the entire conversation, that it is not there.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have an issue to harp on. What?
When you listen to Raza Rabbani or Etizaz Ahsan, there was a time when they were the faces of the party. At that time, you thought that they were pitching something new to you. A Roshan Khayal Pakistan maybe, right? Today, that doesn't seem to be the case.
I think on Maulana Fazlur Rahman, let me just recall one of his statements before the elections. He was asked, will you join PTI government if you win elections? He said it is still premature, so let's wait. Okay. That means he was keeping that option open, though Imran Khan was ruling out all kind of possibilities. So he didn't get that option. So that, he doesn't have anything which can activate the imagination of the common people.
Right.
He has the pockets of the support in parts of northwest of Pakistan, in southwest of Pakistan. His support base, as we referred earlier on, madrasas and conservative parts of the population in these parts of Pakistan.
Right.
Now, when the bigger picture that you're referring about, People's Party and PMLN, I think PMLN has the better chance to activate the imagination of the people on inflation, on price hike, on what they call as the U-turn of the governments.
But even they were not doing it. Before Mariam went to jail...
The reason they were not doing it...
No, hang on. Mariam was in a mood to actually challenge everything. But on money, on economic matters, she was not protesting. She was talking about mujhe kyun nikala, right? Mera abba ko kyun nikala, and certain other aspects, nothing else.
The point is when they're
the victimhood.
The victimhood. When their top leadership is in jail for whatever reasons, so obviously their first focus is how to get them out. Now they have not been able to focus on these issues. And then second reason
How is that possible? Okay, they are very rich.
I think my understanding is that there are plenty of reasons. Any good opposition party can mobilize public particularly on economic issues. But again, the problem with these opposition parties are that there are serious allegations, there are serious cases of corruption against them, and they have to deal those cases first of all. They cannot think of the public issues. They can talk about the public issues.
But actually focus on reinventing yourself. Give people something new. You have to bring some value to the table. You're not doing that.
There is a leadership crisis when it comes to the opposition parties.
Right.
Their second-tier leadership have not been able to do that. Okay. And because they themselves are...
You're calling Shehbaz Sharif second-tier leadership?
I'm calling Shehbaz Sharif, I'm calling even
Bilawal
Bhutto. So they lack the capacity and